This video is for educational purposes only and does not constitute legal advice. For legal guidance, please consult a qualified attorney. Some content may have been created with the assistance of AI.
Imagine this. You file a motion thinking it will help your case. Instead, the judge calls it frivolous, and now you're ordered to pay the other side's attorney's fees. How did this happen? Let's break it down. Under Rule 11, the court takes very seriously how and why papers are filed. A filing can be sanctioned if it crosses certain lines. First, improper purpose. If the filing is meant to harass the other party, to stall the case, or to needlessly drive up litigation costs. Second, no legal basis if the claims, defenses, or arguments have no grounding in existing law and are not made as a good faith effort to change or extend the law. Third, no factual support. If facts are asserted without evidence or without any reasonable chance of obtaining evidence during discovery. And finally, false or baseless denials when someone denies factual allegations without support or without a reasonable basis to say they lack knowledge. Rule 11 is designed to keep filings honest, grounded, and fair, protecting both the parties and the court. In other words, when you sign a document filed with the court, you are making 4 promises. I am not filing to harass anyone. My claims are legally valid. My factual statements have evidence or support, and my denials are truthful. How do sanctions work under Rule 11? A violation of any one of these promises, just one subsection, is enough for the court to impose sanctions. Rule 11 makes clear, signing a document is never just a formality. It's a certification of honesty, law, and fact. At its core, Rule 11 requires that every lawsuit or motion have a real and sincere purpose to vindicate rights in court. If that purpose is missing, the filing is improper. So what does improper purpose look like? Filing just to harass the other side, to delay proceedings, or to drive up costs. Filing without any true intent to litigate, starting a case or motion with no plan to follow through. Filing excessively, even if each document is technically valid, flooding the court can amount to harassment. Making baseless allegations, bringing a long list of claims with no legal or factual foundation. And importantly, courts don't just take a filer's word for it. They look at the circumstantial evidence, the timing, the pattern of conduct, the filer's experience, and the surrounding facts. Improper purpose is about motive, and Rule 11 ensures that the courtroom is used for justice, not as a weapon.
It's close to grand years. It's clear this goes against the law.
Under Rule 11, a court may impose sanctions on an attorney or a party if they file a claim or motion that no competent attorney could reasonably believe is legally valid. What does that mean in practice? Ignoring controlling law, filing claims that don't meet even the basic legal requirements, or misrepresenting the law to the court. Now, it is still safe to make new legal arguments, even bold ones, that challenge existing laws, so long as they are made in good faith. The takeaway is simple. Don't file anything that's obviously baseless or contradicts settled law. Rule 11 gives the court power to punish it.
Did you check the facts before filing?
Rule 11 places a duty of reasonable inquiry on everyone who files with the court, attorneys and even self-represented litigants. It's not enough to act in good faith. The rule rejects the idea of an empty head, pure heart defense. You must actually check the facts before filing. How do courts decide what counts as reasonable? They look at several factors. How much time was available to investigate? How complex the issues are? Whether the attorney reasonably relied on information from the client? And whether some facts could only be uncovered later through discovery. The bottom line, before you file, you must do your homework.
I swear under oath that is the truth.
Rule 11 also governs how you deny factual allegations. There are 2 types of permissible denials. First, denials warranted by evidence. You can deny a fact if the evidence supports it. But beware of sham denials. Denying obvious facts just to force the other side to prove them could result in sanctions. Second, denials based on lack of information or belief. You can deny a fact if you genuinely don't know. But this requires a reasonable inquiry. You can't ignore information you already have. Bottom line, all denials must be honest, grounded in evidence, or based on a genuine lack of knowledge. Sham or careless denials can lead to sanctions under Rule 11. When evaluating Rule 11, courts apply an objective reasonableness test. The key question is whether the signer, attorney, or party adequately checked the facts and the law before filing. Sanctions are discretionary. Their purpose is to deter baseless filings, not to punish honest mistakes made in good faith.
Welcome to Justice Matters,
where we discuss legal issues shaping our world.
Welcome back to Justice Matters. I'm Linda Martinez. Today, we're talking about something that may not sound flashy, but it's at the heart of fairness in the courtroom. Rule 11 of the Federal Rules of Civil Procedure. It governs how lawyers and people representing themselves must act when they file papers with the court. Joining me is Professor Daniel Harris, an expert in civil procedure. Professor, thanks for being here.
Thank you, Linda. It's great to be here.
Let's start with the basics. What exactly does Rule 11 require when someone files a pleading, a motion, or any other paper in federal court?
Rule 11 is essentially a promise every filer makes to the court. When an attorney or an unrepresented party signs and submits something, they're certifying 4 things. First, they're not filing for an improper purpose, like harassment or delay. Second, their legal arguments are grounded in existing law, or at least in a reasonable argument for changing the law. Third, their factual claims have evidence or will likely have support after investigation. Finally, their denials of other people's claims are reasonably based on fact or belief. It's a safeguard to make sure the court isn't used as a tool for gamesmanship.
And if someone violates those promises, what can happen?
The court can impose sanctions. That could mean non-monetary orders, like requiring extra oversight, or monetary penalties, including paying the other side's attorney fees. But sanctions must be limited to what's necessary to deter repeat behavior. It's not about punishment for its own sake. It's about protecting the integrity of the judicial process.
Now, Rule 11 applies to everyone, lawyers, law firms, and also people who represent themselves. How does it play out differently for pro se litigants?
That's a key point. Pro se litigants often don't know the formal rules as well as lawyers, but Rule 11 still applies to them. Courts may give some leeway in interpreting filings, but when it comes to filing for harassment or without factual basis, the standard is the same. Judges have to strike a balance, supporting self-represented people who act in good faith while stopping those who misuse the courts.
Is there a process for raising Rule 11 violations? Can one side just accuse the other of breaking the rule?
Not quite. There's a built-in safeguard called the safe harbor provision. If one party believes the other has violated Rule 11, they have to serve a motion on them but wait 21 days before filing it with the court. That gives the filer time to withdraw or correct the problematic paper. Only if they don't fix it can the motion be formally filed. That way, sanctions don't become just another litigation tactic.
And the court itself can step in too, right?
Exactly. Judges can act on their own by issuing an order to show cause, basically asking the filer to explain why their conduct didn't violate Rule 11. That power is used carefully, but it's an important check when someone is repeatedly abusing the process.
What about limits? Are there times when courts cannot impose monetary sanctions?
Yes. For example, courts cannot impose monetary sanctions against a represented party for a purely legal argument that turns out to be weak. That responsibility falls on the attorney, not the client. And courts generally cannot impose monetary sanctions on their own initiative after a case has been voluntarily dismissed or settled, unless they acted earlier with a show cause order. These safeguards prevent overreach.
So, big picture, what should our listeners take away from Rule 11?
That every filing in court is a serious act. Whether you're an attorney or representing yourself, you're making a certification to the judge that your arguments have a good faith basis in law and fact. Rule 11 is there to protect the system from abuse while leaving room for legitimate, creative, or even novel legal arguments. It's about keeping the playing field fair.
Professor Harris, thank you for making this complex rules so accessible.
My pleasure, Linda.
And thanks to all of you for listening to Justice Matters. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Don't forget to like and subscribe. Your support helps us create more content for you.